Hi everyone, Gary Sims here, and we are back with a weekend preview for the upcoming trials weekend. Joining me today are the usual two suspects that I've been doing these videos with lately. Mark Mackay, how are we doing, Mark?
I'm doing fine, Gary, yeah? Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad, mate, not too bad. Andrew, how's things with you?
Yeah, very good, Gary. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, mate, thanks, yeah. Okay, we'll get stuck straight in because I think this video might take a bit of time, so we'll get straight into the mix of things. And we're starting off at Cheltenham on Saturday. Looking like a good weekend's racing. If we get the go-ahead, I think there's an inspection tomorrow, so fingers crossed we do get the go-ahead. And we'll start off with the 1240, the Grade 2, 2 mile 1 Triumph Hurdle Trial. And we'll come straight over to you, Andrew. Have you got a fancy in this one? Strong fancy, small fancy, how is it?
Yeah, probably not a betting race because it's chopped up a fair bit just to the fore. I think Naas by far the best of these, and I doubt it'll be any type of price. I'd say he'd be 2's on or something, so I won't back him, but I think he'll win this, and I think he's probably got an each way chance in the triumph.
Yeah, okay. Like you said, disappointing that all the field cut up, and we do only have the small runner field now. Bit of a shame, but Mark, yourself?
Yeah, just disappointing field. I have no bet in it. I think the favourite will win, but I wouldn't tell anyone to back out at the price. So yeah, just wait for the other races.
Yeah, totally agree with you. Yeah, I think 1 to 3 is currently the price for Naas, and yeah, you couldn't be betting him at that. One to sit back and watch. Interesting to see how Sage Advice goes. Obviously, he looks like a bit of an improver. Come off the one run at Kempton, jumped really well. Watched that back today. Jumped well throughout, and you know, cruise clear. And if I was to have a little dabble, I'd probably just have a little dabble on him to upset the apple cart, just because I don't like backing favourites. But Naas could be a very good horse going forward. Okay, so then straight into the next one, the 115. We've got a Class 2, 2 mile 4, and it's the Novices Handicap Chase. Mark, we'll come to you on this one, mate. Do you have a bet?
No, I don't have a bet in this one either. I'm going to say that a lot today, Gary, but I don't really running this. It's usually a good race for, like last season, it was a really good race for Cheltenham Festival runners, but I don't have a bet in it, so I'll not keep you back.
Yeah. Okay. Yourself, Andrew?
Yeah, I quite like the top one in this, Gary, Lieutenant Rocco. I think 140 is potentially a decent mark. Sees around 7 to 1. I think that's a decent enough each way bet. I think the form behind Fusel Raffles over course and distance probably the best you're going to find in this. Maybe a little bit disappointing behind Mazir des Obeaux, but I think back in this off 140, he's shown pretty robust form this year. He obviously jumps pretty well, goes from the front, and I think he'll take an awful lot of stopping. Yeah.
I agree with you. I was actually quite surprised to see him where he was in the betting, Lieutenant Rocco. I think he's slightly overpriced. So if I was to have a bet in this, I haven't got it down as a strong fancy, but I would be siding with him, and I'll probably, if he stays out at the price he is, I will be certainly having an each way bet on him. It's an interesting little race, this. It's a good one for Cheltenham. I think the last couple of winners have gone on and won at the festival, so it's certainly one to keep an eye on. Whatever does win, where they go afterwards. So yeah, move swiftly on because we've got plenty to get through. On to the 150, which is a Grade 3, 2 mile 4 handicap chase. I'll start us off here. The one that came down to a couple. I'm a big fan of Caribbean Boy, but didn't really like his last run. But the one I like here is Benatar for Gary Moore. 15 to 2, I think currently is the best price, and he's carrying 10 stone 13 here. Ran really well at the track in December. Came back after a break of 700 days off. Just tired after the last, really, up to the finish, but stayed on, and I think he captured 3rd or 4th in the end. He's been left off the same mark here at 142, which I think looks workable. And yeah, I think he's the one that I'll be going for in this race. Probably a decent bet for me. Mark, yourself?
Yeah, I looked at Benatar as well, but I came down for Aso. He'll just love the ground, and it's just his type of race. I think it's not quite top class where he can't compete. It's just about his level. I know he's top weight, but I came down on him. I quite like him as a horse. He likes Cheltenham. He's good there. He'll love the ground. He's 10 or 12 to 1. Each way I'd back him.
Okay, yeah, very good. Andrew?
Yeah, these 2.5 mile handicaps around Cheltenham, I've a pretty woeful record in now, but I did quite like Benatar myself. I know me and you seem to be singing off the same hymn sheet at the moment, Gary, but I thought for every reason you just said there, off 142, you know, he was placed in these types of handicaps off 149. He was 3rd or 4th in a JLT a couple of years ago. Like, he's got decent enough back form, and I'd be very surprised if he couldn't win one of these handicaps off that type of mark, whether it's tomorrow or whether it's Saturday or sometime down the line. He's surely a winner in weighting off 142.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think his best RPR is actually 154 as well, which is really good, and puts him off a very good mark. Nice to see what you know. Even though Mark went for Aso, he obviously said that he'd had a look at Benatar as well. So got a couple of good bets in them too there. Moving straight on to the main race of the day, the 225, the Grade 2, 3 mile, 1.5 Cotswold Chase. Back to you, Andrew. We'll start with you first on this one, mate. Where are you with this?
Yeah, hard one, because at the moment I think there'd be more chance of myself training a winner than Colin Tizard himself. But I do like Native River for this race. Actually, I know he's getting on, but he's showing nothing to tell us that he's losing his ability. I thought he would have won at Aintree if the fences were there. Sometimes these good horses can defy stable form, and he's 4 to 1. I thought he'd be a point or two shorter than that. I don't think Santini will run. I think Henderson will find any reason to scrap him from the race in the next day or two. He's already hinted at that. If the race goes ahead, I can't see him running, and Native River becomes a 2 to 1 shot then. I think there's a few non-stayers in there. St. Calvados a non-stayer. I take Bristol de Mayon away from Haydock more than likely, and I don't think the rest are good enough. I wouldn't mind seeing how they ride the conditional. I still think he'd have a chance in the Ultima, I must say. But he wouldn't want to be going too close in this if they were to run in the Ultima. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes. But Native River, I know Tizard's horses haven't been running very well, but hopefully he can roll back the years and put in another big performance around Cheltenham.
Yeah. Just I fancied the conditional for that as well. I'm really surprised to see him running here, because he could just go and scupper all. I mean, why would I can't see him running here thinking the handicap mark's going to come down because of what he's facing, unless they really fancy him, which will obviously put him out of the handicap company come Cheltenham. I was quite surprised to see him entered, to be honest. But yeah, I love Bristol de May. I always have loved Bristol de May, and I know when we spoke in the previews, I was hinting on that I quite fancied him at the price he was for the Gold Cup, and I think he'll win this. He's favourite. I don't like putting up favourites, but I think he'll win it for the reasons that you've said. I think Native River, with the ground like it is, would be the one, the danger. But with the yard in the form it's in, I can't go just ignoring that form. And yeah, it's, for me, I'll be back in Bristol de May to go and win it. Probably sticking him in a couple of lucky 15s and whatever as well, to be honest. So it's Bristol de May for me. Mark?
I didn't have a bet. I looked at the conditional. I don't think he'll like the ground. If he did, I would have backed him, because they've won this race a few times with the Giant Bolster. And I think they probably aimed him at this, thinking they might be able to steal it. But on that heavy ground, I'm not so sure. So I think they'll probably look after him. So I would have a bet in the race.
Okay, we'll move straight on to the 3 o'clock, the Grade 2, Ballymore Novices Hurdle. Mark, yourself?
No, I don't really fancy anything, Gary. I really don't like this race at all, and so I'll just pass it on to you two guys.
No worries. Andrew?
Yeah, probably not a race I'd have a bet in myself. I don't like the favourite at all, actually. I think he jumps crap. I think any horse running in this race would have won at Exeter last time off 130. It was a poor race for the grade as well. I feel it's one of those, like, more luck to the horse and connections, but I just feel it's one of those. It's obviously a smaller trainer, smaller connections, and people I think want it to be really good. I'm not quite as convinced. And if I was to back something in it, I'd back Wild About Oscar. I love Brave Man's Game, as people that watch the previews would know. He was pulled up. He made a bad mistake in that shallow hurdle at 4 out. Harry Skelton pulled him up immediately. He had decent enough hurdle form going into that race. I think you can get around 7-2. I'd much prefer to back him at 7-2 than Bear Grylls at evens, because if Bear Grylls jumps the way he did at Exeter, at Cheltenham, there's not a Scooby's chance he wins on Saturday.
Okay, yeah. Wild About Oscar is one I'm keeping a bit of an eye on at the minute in terms of handicaps for the Cheltenham, so I don't want to see him winning this by too far. But the horse I like here, I'm going to go against the favourite, a bit like you two guys, but that's because I like going against favourites really. But Optimised Prime at 10-1 is probably going to be my bet here. I think he's slightly overpriced. 2 out of 2 since been stepped up to 2.5 mile. Won both races well. Last one at Hereford, when the race ramped up and they all started putting the foot down a little bit, he jumped really well, and had the field beat, turning for home really. They were all hard at it, and I think that going left-handed is going to suit him a bit better as well by the way he jumped, so he will be my bet in this race. Okay, then on to the 3:35, the Cleve Hurdle, 2 miles 7. Obviously got red hot favourite in Paisley Park. I'll start us off here saying as though a bet of mine in my anti-post portfolio, if you like, running in the form of Main Fact. I put up Main Fact before he ran his last race and was quite quick to shoot him down straight after the race, and to be honest I probably jumped the gun a little bit. I kind of just said to myself straight away that he just didn't take going from handicap company to open company. I've since seen a couple of interviews with David Pipe where, you know, he's sort of been saying that the horse just clearly didn't run his race that day. He doesn't have a specific reason of anything that was wrong with him on the day, but he just thinks he didn't run his race. Maybe didn't like the track. It was his first run at the track. All horses have tracks they don't like running at. He said it could possibly be that. But like with any horse, I'm willing to give him one chance, you know. So if he was to absolutely flop again here, I would write him off out of the festival. But I'm willing to give him another shot, and I think if he can get into the old way of he sort of gets at it along. It's a bit like Paisley Park in a way, that Paisley Park gets at it from a long way out and then comes again late. But I do think he can get right in the mix here. Worry about this race is where the pace is going to come from. I'm not really sure what's going to go off in front. There doesn't seem to be any pace at all. But we'll see how it plays out. But yeah, Main Fact for me. I'm gonna at 7-1, probably not a massive betting price. It's more one that I want to see obviously come back and do well for the festival bet that I've had. But yeah, that's where I'll be. Come to you next, Mark.
I just think Paisley Park's going to win, and at 1-2, I'm not telling anyone anything they don't know. I just hope he has a really hard race so that when come the festival, Time Hall will duff him up. So I think he'll win on Saturday though, if it's on. Just it's his conditions, and I don't see any of them that will give him as hard a race as Time Hill. So I hope one of them does, but I can't see it really. I think he'll win this.
If he is back to his best, Main Fact will absolutely love the ground. By the way, that's one thing he has got going for him. So he's got no excuses if he doesn't run his ground, if he doesn't run his race. Andrew.
Yeah, I'd be with Mark. I think Paisley Park wins. It would be a bane of mine, and I'm sure it is with yours, that I assume Paisley Park will win and he'll somehow be clipped for the Stayers Hurdle, despite beating no other Stayers Hurdle candidate in this race, I don't believe. And no, I wouldn't have a bet if I was to do anything in the race. If it turned up a bog I'd back Ramses to Tay without the favourite. I think he would go out in front himself. As you say, there's no other pace in the race. Might be able to dictate. He won a couple of those 3-mile novice hurdles this time last year on really heavy ground doing that. He's 20-25 to 1. I'm sure you could get maybe 5-6 to 1 without. That might be something that might interest somebody. I couldn't have itchy feet for a second in this race. And he's 9-2 second fav. So probably a race to leave and watch. But I think Paisley Park wins.
Yeah. Okay, I did look at Ramsey today, and I wonder whether he'd go out in front. And my worry with him, he's had a couple of hard races, so that was my worry with him. I don't think there's an awful lot in the race, so should my bet of main fact run a poor race, I think it'll just be a walk in the park for Paisley Park. So priced correctly, probably. On to the 410 Class 2, 2 mile 1 handicap hurdle. Andrew, start with you, mate.
Yeah, Gary, sorry, I don't really have anything for this race. As a rule, just with the horses I back, I hate horses that have been failed chasers going back hurdling, and this race is stuffed full of them. There's 2 or 3 that have gone novice chasing. It hasn't worked out, and they're back hurdling. I don't like backing those sort of horses. I know some of them win. Sam's Profile won the Galmoy today doing that, but it wasn't a race that interested me at all, to be honest. I couldn't find an into the race, especially on really soft ground. Not sure that would particularly suit. Time flies by, a little bit lethargic, but I'm not so sleepy last time. It wouldn't be a race for me.
Okay. Mark?
Time flies by. What can you say about him? It just depends if JP and Nicky are trying this week with that one or not. So I quite like Witness Protection. I wouldn't be backing it, but Keith Lee loves getting winners at Cheltenham. I looked at him 6-1. I thought he had a decent chance. But it'll all depend on whether Time Flies By is actually trying or not, to be honest.
I have no idea what you mean, mate. But my selection in the race, just mentioned by you, Mark, is Witness Protection. 4 novice hurdle runs with a record of 1-2-1-2. I think he'll stay the trip. He's stayed at 2 mile 5, so 2 mile 1 and heavy shouldn't be a problem. He's won on soft, 129 rating at the minute, so he'll be my play if I do sit there and have a little dabble just because I'm watching the race. But it's nothing of a major fancy for me. Okay, we'll move swiftly on to the Doncaster card. We've got a few races there this weekend that it's the first weekend I have not been there for a while. We've usually had a runner or 2 there for the last few years. And we'll start off with the 1:30, which is the Grade 2, the Irish Thoroughbred Novices Chase over 2 miles. Red hot favourite in Shishkin, and I don't imagine either of you two are going to sit here and tell me that he's going to get beat by anything in that field. So shall we just talk about how far he's going to win by? Andrew?
I'd go 7 lengths plus.
Okay. Mark?
I think he'll walk this race, but I don't understand why they're running him in this race. I'm big on not going for races that haven't got a good record, and this race has got a shocking record at Cheltenham. The Lightning, it's got a shocking record for Arkle horses, and yet they're going here, so I can't understand it. I suppose they probably don't have anywhere else to go, but I don't like taking horses to races that have got bad records at Cheltenham.
Yeah, well, I don't mind what you've just said with me being against Shishkin at the festival, so I'm glad he's running here now you've just said that. But yeah, he should absolutely walk this, shouldn't he? I don't even know what the bet is in the race, whether I don't think it's worth betting without the favourite. But yeah, we'll leave it at that Shishkin wins, probably gets round at a canter. Bookies will shorten him for beating absolutely nothing, as they always do. Okay, on to a race that means quite a bit to me in the 5+2, the Grade 2, the Yorkshire Rose Mares Hurdle, won the last 2 years by a certain Lady Buttons. Obviously we're not in it this year with her hitting retirement, but there's a few horses in there that she has raced against in it the last couple of years. And Mark, we'll come to you first on this one, mate.
It was a very tentative selection for Maurice Rock. I think the race is tough, to be honest. Just the way they talked about her before she ran in the Jerry Fielding, and that's the only reason I've picked her. But I mean, they did talk champion hurdle. They were talking, and I mean that's serious talk. And now I don't think she's entered in the mayor's hurdle, which is really strange. So some things must have seriously gone wrong, and Nico's gone against her as well. But that's no bad thing. So I'll go with Harold since Nico's not on
it. These previews are becoming just a jockey bashing for Mark, aren't they? That's what we come on, just for Mark to do a jockey bashing. Andrew,
you never had me last week.
Andrew,
on 4 favourites.
Yeah, you did. Yeah. Oh God, yeah. What was it as well? And the race card that he's sponsored by.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like that, isn't
it? Yeah. Andrew, where are you with this one, mate?
Yeah, I would assume based off what you were saying with the Mares Hurdle that you'll be thinking similarly. I would have a poke on Raina's World in this. Fast run 2 miles. I'd say will suit. You'll know an awful lot more about her than I will, but obviously Lady Buttons beat Floressa in the race last year, which gives Phil Kirby a bit of an in on the form. I think fast run 2 miles, I think it will be right up her street. Probably her best run of her life so far was behind Concert East at Cheltenham, and that was a helter-skelter 2 miles. And I think she's overpriced at 10 to 1. I think she probably should be maybe a 6-7 to 1 chance, and I'd take her each way. Couldn't trust Maurice Rock after what she did at Newbury, and Floressa's a grand horse, probably the most likely winner, but I don't think she's any world beater at the same time, so I'd give Raina's World a chance at the price.
Yeah, okay. Stole my thunder. I was expecting you two to go elsewhere and me to come in late with this one, but you've stole me thunder now, mate. All right. This is one of my bets of the weekend. I think she has an absolutely cracking chance in this race, and I think I've wrote down 12 to 1. Andrew's just said 10 to 1 there, so she's somewhere between them prices. She's a lovely horse. She's a cracking horse. I always remember the word on the gallops where she was the one that could keep up with Lady Buttons and one or two of the others. They think a lot of her at the yard. Her form this season of 3 seconds and a win. She's in good form. She's ran well at Cheltenham. I haven't spoke to the yard. I haven't spoke to Phil even about her. Yes, he's actually contactless at the minute. Phil, he's got no phone, so I was just about to ring him today when my mum told me not to bother because he didn't have a phone. So, but yeah, I think she's in with a real live chance here. Like you say, Phil knows what it takes to win this race. He knows what it takes to beat. Lady Buttons has run against Irish Row before. I actually fancy Irish Row more than I fancy Floressa, to be honest. I think she'll be the main danger here. So those were the two that I fell on, but yeah, I'll be having a good stab on Raina's World, and fingers crossed for everyone involved that she goes well. Okay, on to the next one, which is the 240, the Grade 2 Albert Bartlett Novices Hurdle, over 3 mile. Andrew, have you got one for this?
Yeah, I do. I think by the end of this week, I'm either going to look like an absolute legend or an absolute twit, because I've told... I can't stop telling people about this Bob Hope or no hope in this.
Oh, yeah.
He's absolutely ridiculously priced. Well, I think he's ridiculously priced at 8-1. Now, he'll run stink and then I'll look like an idiot. But I just can't believe he's behind some of these in the betting. Like, he beat Ask a Honeybee earlier in the year by 2 lengths at Exeter. Ask Honeybee's shorter. Then he beat a horse that beat Flash Calange by 20 lengths. Flash Calange is 4 or 5-1. Bob Hope, no, it was 8-1. I honestly, I don't know whether I'm missing something. But if it's as good as it seems, I think he jumps okay. He didn't jump great at Doncaster last time, but he finds and he finds. He's point-to-point winner on soft ground in Ireland. I think 3 miles will see him the best effect. And actually, I don't think he's without a chance in the Albert Bartlett. If he was to win on the weekend, he certainly wouldn't be 50-1 for the Albert Bartlett, which he currently is. So as I say, I've been telling every man and dog that would listen about this horse this weekend, which is a guarantee that he'll run badly then. But I'm hoping Bob Hope or No Hope can do the job in this. I think he's well overpriced at 8.
Yeah, okay. Mark?
I hope Andrew's horse wins. I didn't really have much of a view on this one, to be honest, so I hope Andrew's horse wins. He's been talking about it for the Albert Bartlett as well as this race, so I hope it runs well for him. I have no real view.
Yeah. You like to see when people do have faith in one and confidence in one, you do want them to come in, so good luck with that one, Andrew. I didn't expect him to be a favourite, but Emir Sakra, I like that. I like the form of the horse, and I think he'll be the one to beat. But he is the favourite, so you'd expect him to be the one to beat. But you've got a decent sized field in here, so I've heard a couple of people talking up Ask a Honeybee. I can't really be having that one, to be honest. So a bit of a watching race for me rather than a betting race. Okay, we'll move straight on to the 3:15, which is a Class 1 3-mile handicap chase. I'll start us off here. One of my fancies of the weekend runs here in the form of the favourite, Captain Ord. Not usually a favourites man, and he is short of 5-2, but at the end of the day, if you think a horse wins, you think he wins, and I think he'll win this and put in a good performance. Second behind Royal Pagale, the last day, he's had 2 runs up at 3 mile, both been very good. The last day they were about 19-20 lengths clear of Double Shuffle, who has come out and won well since. So I think he's a knocking bet for me, and one, like I say, one of my bets of the weekend. Mark, on you.
Right, we're really value seeking here, Gary, but I'm on Captain Ord as well. 5-2. I think he's the most likely winner. I'm not saying he's a value bet, because he certainly isn't. He's not a value bet at all at that price. I can't see him drifting too much with that form of Royal Pagale, because he was the only one that could live with him. And I think it just proves how well handicapped he was on the day. I think this will be the plan for Christian Williams' horse, because he probably expected to win that handicap at Kempton, which he didn't win. So now this has got to be the big aim for them, because they're going to get another hike before this race starts. They're supposed to go up another 3, and if he wins this, he's probably going to be at the limit of his handicap. So this is a big race for them. They need to win this, because they're going to go up before they even start. Yeah, Captain Ord for me.
Good stuff. Andrew, are you making it 3 out of 3, or do you have another fancy?
Yeah, no, I'd agree with you guys. I think he's the most likely winner. At 5-2, I feel I've kind of missed the price, and I probably wouldn't back him at that. Just I wouldn't back many horses in these types of handicaps at 5-2.
Yeah.
One I'd give a chance. One I'd give a chance to, as the butcher said, for Ollie Murphy. Look, he'd need to improve his jumping a fair bit, but Ollie Murphy's horses have completely turned the corner now the last couple of weeks. He's beginning to fire in winners, and I think he's got an awful lot of well-handicapped horses in the yard at the moment. I think this horse off 139, I think there's a race in him off 139. As I say, he would need to scrub up his jumping, but you're getting 16-1. And I think if he was to put in a pretty adequate round of jumping, I think he'd be in the frame at 16s. As I say, favourite going to be hard to beat, but I can't justify backing a horse at 5-2 in these handicaps, and I'm not really on the Royal Pagale train either. So I'm not going to back everything religiously that he's involved with. So I'll probably leave him win and back something at a bigger price in the butcher said.
Yeah. Looking down it, if just one I forgot to mention is very unreliable, but if he puts in his best round of jumping and running, I think Rocky's Treasure will be dangerous, course and distance winner, but he's just that unreliable, puts in too many crap performances and then it sticks in a good one now and again. But yeah, Captain Ord will be my bet in the race. Okay, on to the last race. Not sure what you guys having this, the 410 Class 2 handicap hurdle. Do you have a bet, Mark?
No, I have no bet.
Okay, do you, Andrew?
No, not one that really did it for me, I must say.
Okay, we should have left it off then because none of us have a bet, so we'll leave that one just there. The last one we'll give a mention to on Saturdays over at Fairyhouse. We have a nice little race at 1:58, the Grade 3 Mares Novice Hurdle over 2 mile 2. Do you have a bet in this one, Mark? Or if you don't have a bet, what's your fancy? I know you've got a runner in here of yours, haven't you? Didn't you back one out of her?
I put a bet on her. Yeah. I put a bet on her for Cheltenham, but I've given up.
All right.
And I can't work out. Why they're going back. Right.
You're not even willing to give her a chance.
No. I thought it was a really good race though, and I can't understand how she's run so poorly since, because she ran. That was a brilliant race she ran, and she absolutely bolted in. I like Castrovetera. I thought her form was strong before she came in here, but the one that I noted, and I thought she was a bit of a non-jigger, was Rosie's Hollow, and I loved the way she won last time out. And I know it's a big hike up for her, but I'd actually back her each way in this. I think Rosie's Hollow was given a bit of a easy run that first time out when she was fourth to Delvino, and I think that last win, she beat a decent horse pretty easily, and I'd be with her.
Okay, fair enough. Andrew, come to you.
Yeah, well, I'd probably be a little bit more forgiving than Mark. I quite like this Delvino a lot. I think she'll be a big price as well on the weekend. I'm hoping for a double figure price. I'll back her each way, I suspect. But I must say, I look at this race, I cannot comprehend Royal Kahala getting beaten. I don't fancy this Mullins horse at all. I think she's only top of the betting because it's Mullins and it's Kenny Alexander. I think her form, beating Mighty Blue, like Mighty Blue pulled like a train the last day, still only beat her 4 or 5 lengths. I thought when Royal Kahala beat Hook Up and beat Delvino last time out, I was so impressed. Obviously the trainer had Gypsy Island a couple of years ago, looked like a very promising mare. This one looks just as good. Travels very similarly, travels through her races superbly, and yeah, geez, I think more than likely because Galway's in the race, she's going to be second fav, and I can't have that at all, especially around Fairyhouse. She loves it around there, and I'd be very strong on her, but probably more for sentiment purposes as well. I'd back Delvino each way. I wouldn't just completely give up on her because that was nowhere near her running there the last day.
Have you guys seen any pricing on this? Because I haven't. There was no prices up when I looked.
No, I haven't seen anything myself.
No. Okay. Well, I know you've just shot her down in flames, Andrew, but Galway is my selection in this race. I was really impressed with her last day. Went back and looked at some splits and some times. She was nearly 7 seconds quicker than the handicap hurdle on the same day. She splits from the second last to the line as well. She was quicker. Just based on what she did that day, I think she's improving for the amount of runs she's had. I think she'll improve again. Royal Kahala, I went back and had a look at his times. He was no quicker than anything else on the card over the same distance. I can't remember what the other race was now, but he was about the same time. And I just think she's the improver here. He's got the experience, I understand that, but my bet. It depends what the prices are. I don't know how short these are going to be. I would think them two will obviously be the top of the betting, you would have thought. So I'll be having to take a look at the prices before I go wading in or anything. But if there's any value in Galois, I will be taking a stab at her because I think she's the likely winner. Okie dokie. I think that is it for Saturday, so we'll move swiftly on to the Naas card on Sunday. We'll start with the 145, which is the Grade 3 Limestone Lad Hurdle over just shy of 2 miles. I'll start us off here, and my selection in the race is Becassin. Won a classy little race, only 4-runner race, but it was a nice hot little race the last day at Punchestown. Jumped really well all the way around, which you would expect because he's had some chases under his belt. Won it with ease. Was slightly surprised at the drop in trip because he actually holds an entry in the stayers, so why come back to 2 mile I'm not really sure, but I think he's the class in the race, and with the heavy ground he's certainly not going to tire. He'll have the stamina, so he's my bet. And it'll come on to you, Andrew.
Yeah, a tricky race. Hard to know whether Willie Mullins will run both or not. It depends probably on the full decks. I actually, as much as it's bizarre because she's not one of the most genuine horses of all time, but I'd give a chance to build me up Buttercup in this. If she ran, the other Mullins horse gets a mare's allowance off some of the top ones. Beat Ellie May a couple of starts back. Obviously, I'm quite sweet on Ellie May for the mare race. I think that's good form. She does need to be delivered literally on the nose, but she usually runs a race. The last day I'd looked past that. She doesn't stay 2.5 miles. Back over 2 miles, I think she'd have a decent enough chance. But as I say, quite hard to know what's going to rock up here. I think it'll cut up to a 4 or 5 runner race, I'd have thought. And Mullins probably will only run the one. But if Build Me Up Buttercup was the one, I think I'd give her a strong chance of getting her head back in front.
Yeah. Mark?
I shouldn't be allowed to see any races where Coeur Sublime runs because I keep thinking he's going to win one, and he never does. So I have to go with him again. But he'll just let me down again. So it's not a strong fancy. I didn't really like the race, but I'd always fancy Coeur Sublime in a race when he's in it. So yeah, I looked at him and I thought, oh God, not again.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, to be honest with what Andrew's just said, if Mullins is only going to run the one, I don't know if he's got other options for Becassin, but the fact that it's not really Becassin's trip might mean that your Build Me Up Buttercup is the one that gets the nod here. So yeah, we will see. We'll move straight on to the 215, the Grade 3 3-mile novices chase. Again, not 100% sure what's going to run here, but yeah, I'll start off with yourself, Mark.
Well, I saw this on another video, people talking about it, so I went back and watched all its races, and even though I normally have fancied Pencil Full of Lead, this Eclat de Rire looks like it just runs and runs and runs and stays forever, and I'd give him a bit of a chance on this ground. So even though I'd be a fan of Pencil Full of Lead, I like this horse and he'll stay forever. Eclat de Rire for me of Henry de Bromhead's with Richard Blackmore on. I'd go with that.
Yeah. Andrew?
Yeah, I could definitely see the angle behind Eclat de Rire. I think he's quite a nice horse. A bit of a backward type. Should still be a lot of improvement there, and I think there should be a lot of improvement still in Ascaria 10 as well for Gordon. Not sure. Again, one of these. He's got the 2 entered with Pencil Full of Lead as well. I don't know whether he'll run the 2 or not. If Ascaria 10 runs, I think he'd go very close. He was 5th in probably the strongest beginners of the year in Ireland. The one that Monkfish won. You look at that, Sam's Profile was in there. Deal Kerr was in there. On the Ropes was in there. It's a good race. I think that's pretty strong for him. And then he won at Thurles over 3-1. I think he stays forever. Not without a chance. If they were to suddenly pipe this horse into a national hunt chase, I don't think he'd be without a chance. I assume, obviously there's so few 3-mile races you can run in as a novice, and that's one of the qualifications for the national hunt chase. Maybe Gordon will run both of them to try and get them both qualified. I think Ascaria 10 though would be a bigger price, and I think he might be worth a decent bet.
Okay, mate. Yeah. Narrowed it down to 2 in the race. One of them, if he runs, you'll laugh your head off. But the other one for me is Ascaria 10. I totally agree with everything that Andrew's just said. Been up to 3 mile. It was the 2 races at 3 mile that he's run at by a total of 30 lengths. Last time winning by 20 lengths. We'll be getting £8 off Pencil Full of Lead, as will a few. Ran an RPR of 155 the last day, so that was the one I came down on. I think if he runs here and he gets round, I think Asterion Forlonge could win this race. Now, it's whether he gets round and whether he's actually going to run. Interesting to see him entered though. There will be trying to get a race under his belt where he actually completes it before Cheltenham, if they run him at Cheltenham. But yeah, I do think when he's actually able to complete a race, he's going to probably just piss up, and everyone's going to have left him out because he's just unreliable. But yeah, they were the 2 I came down to.
If Asterion Forlonge runs in this and gets round, he'd win this race by a furlong.
Yeah,
like
you'd think so, wouldn't you?
Actually, so much better than these horses. Like I genuinely think ability-wise, he's probably the 2nd or 3rd best novice. Or probably behind Envoy Len and Monkfish, the 3rd best novice chaser in Ireland. Ability-wise,
that's my thought. I totally agree with you.
He's just an absolute nutter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just can't get out of my head what he did to Easy Work in the Dublin Racing Festival last year. Like, Easy Work was a seriously good horse, and he absolutely devoured him that day. I know Mark put him up at a very good price for that race last year at the Dublin Racing Festival. He's got all the ability in the world, but I don't know whether we're ever going to see it or not. But if we do, it'll be some sight to see. Because as you said, Gary, like, if in any of these races, if he actually turned up and got it right, like, you'd be looking at it going, it's so obvious. Like, if he was to go round and jump well, he'd win easy, and everyone would be going, well, the ability was always there. So I personally don't think he'll run at Naas, but if he did, like, I'd love him to see him win. I quite like the horse, but he's just a nutter.
Yeah, he is big style. Okay, moving on to the 245, 2 mile 3 maiden hurdle. I don't have a bet in this. Andrew, do you?
Probably not. Look, El Barra looked quite good in his bumper, but then hung like a gate at Leopardstown right-handed. It's very interesting to see them even enter him left-handed again. They may think they've ironed out that issue. He looked like a horse with plenty of promise at one stage, but look, these maiden hurdles, you'd want to be seeing full decks before you'd be getting stuck into them.
Yeah. You anything, Mark, for this one?
No. Sorry, Gary.
No, it's fine. Again, I want to skip the next one as well because I don't think it's one. Neither of you got a big fancy in the next one, have you? It's a pretty wide open race, not knowing much of the entries at the minute. So if neither of you have a bet, do you have a bet, either of you?
No, I only got the 2.
No. Okay, yeah. On to the 345, which is the 2.5 mile novice handicap chase. I will start us off here. Notice to Close is a horse that probably took my fancy in this one. He's only had the one run last year. Come back this year, looked a lot more impressive than he had done before that. I'm not sure what had happened in that time off, but he's had a lot of time off with just the one run. He was very impressive. He's won his last 3 races over hurdles and fences, and I think he could progress again here. Will need to step up again, but I think he can. Any thoughts on the race, Mark?
No, nothing for me, Gary. No.
Yeah. Okay, Andrew.
Yeah, hard one. It should be a very competitive race. Depends when they're going to lift the handbrake off. I like the way you're thinking. Of 129, he's very, very well handicapped. But I don't know when will be the day with that horse. He won a few hurdle races at Galway last year, pretty impressively. One I'd give a chance to. You'll always get a double figure price about some of these Ollie McKiernan horses. He's a small enough trainer, but he knows the time of day. And Lanarroy has ran very well the last twice. Second to a horse called Enjoy Dallin last time, who's gone on and won since for Kieran Murphy. So he might be one. He's off 118, and as I say, you're more than likely going to get a double figure price about him.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. On to the last race of the day, the 4:15, the Hunter's Chase, 3 mile. Have you anything in this one, Mark?
No, without even knowing the decks, no, I wouldn't even have looked. I'd look actually at that. Sorry.
Yeah. No, fine. Andrew?
No, it wouldn't be for me. Backing wise, a few interesting ones in there. Obviously, came to pass. Mike, I think he's going to have to run in this because they wanted to run him in a point to point, but the point to points are now cancelled. I don't think he'll win on Sunday, but they probably will run him. A horse that probably might win on the weekend, a horse called Staker Wallace. I think he's quite a good horse. Probably won't win at Cheltenham, but he might win on Sunday.
Yeah, okay. And I couldn't really figure out what was actually going to run here and what wasn't. So I left that one alone as well. Okay then, boys. That about wraps us up, I think. Have you got anything else anywhere else?
No, that'll be for me.
I'd advise everyone to be watching Flinter Soccer tomorrow at Doncaster.
Okay.
People should be watching that. He looked fabulous in his bumper, went far too hard on his Ardell's debut. But if he wins easy, he's going to be 10-1 for the Supreme after tomorrow. I know it's a rubbish race, but because he's Henderson's, if he wins easy and he's JP's, then he'll be into a silly price for the Supreme. And he's 4-7, so yeah, it's definitely a race that I'd advise people to watch, because if he does win well and show a bit more, it could become a Supreme horse.
Okay, yeah. Okay then, we'll have give us a couple of best bets for the weekend of all those that we've spoke about. Andrew, what would be probably your 2 strongest fancies, or 3, however many you've got that you think are really strong fancies?
I would go with Bob Hope or No Hope in the Bartlett trial, Donny and Lieutenant Rocco in the novice handicap. I just can't understand how he's 7-1. I think he's overpriced. So if you threw the 2 of them into an each way double and both of them won, you'd be having a decent enough day out. Okay.
I'm just glad you never said Paisley Park, Shishkin and Nassalam. So I was just meant to say nobody's allowed to put them up beforehand. Mark?
Wouldn't be for me now.
Yeah, no, not me. Mark?
Well, listening to you guys, I'm going to do a double on Raina's World and Bob Hope or No Hope. But for myself, I'm quite keen on this Rosie's Hollow in the 158 at Fairyhouse. I really don't think she was off the day when she was Delvino, and I loved the way she won last time out. And I think if the handbrake's off this, she's a serious horse, and I think she'll be a good price as well. She might get backed in, so I'll be backing her on Saturday at a decent price. Rosie's Hollow.
Okay. Yeah. All right, and for myself, few fancies in this, so I want to stick a lucky 15 on for man of Captain Ord, Raina's World, Bristol de May, and I know it's going against yours there, Matt, but Galois, and I know it's going against everything that Andrew thinks of her as well, but that can complete my lucky 15. All right, lads, it's been great catching up, and hopefully hopefully we'll get to see an interesting weekend's racing. Hopefully it's all on to start with, and we do actually get to see plenty of racing and some clues in for the festival. Okay, catch up soon, boys. Cheers.